surrender to your Odyssey. So I'm going to try something a little different for this video. I'm going to talk about Christopher Nolan's Odyssey, my interpretation of the story, and how it can basically relate to our own individual lives. So first things, just to set some context, this is my interpretation. It's subjective, there's no right or wrong answer. That's the nature of films. The film itself is a masterpiece, in my opinion. I understand it's received a bit of criticism from purists who want it to closely align to Greek mythology and tell the full story, and film critics and all the rest. The issue with those are their whole identification is in being a critic, a film critic. So they have to find things to be critical of. It's a unique story. It uses Homer's Odyssey. It broadly follows the story as I understand it. Probably misses quite a bit as well. But it's a unique story. Stories don't have to follow the script of the source material verbatim. They can be expanded upon, etc. And I think Christopher Nolan did a fantastic job in telling a very unique story in a beautiful way. So my interpretation and how it can relate to our lives is to really look at the personification of the characters and what Odysseus represents, what Penelope represents, and the rest of the cast. So the first thing is, I feel like Odysseus represents our ego, sense of self, or just the masculine principle within us, and he is called to fight in this war, go end this war, so go basically outwards, leave home, leave the sanctuary of his home and leave his wife and child behind, to go and seek glory and go and follow an ambition and go win a war, which is very in line with the motivations of the ego, or motivations of the masculine principle. And we see that today, right? We go on an ambitious pursuit to make a load of money, build a company, score the winner in a World Cup final, be a movie star, be the king of your city and own all the real estate. I don't know, whatever really the pursuit is. And he does this alone. He abandons his wife, and my feeling is the wife represents the feminine principle, or the inner guide, the inner guardian, the spirits. He abandons her and he leaves her at home. He doesn't take her with him on his outwardly pursuits, and he goes on this pursuit, and he goes and he's incredible. He wins the war. The Trojan horse. It's all looks fantastic, and he goes and defeats the army and succeeds. And then it's time to come home. He's won, and then it's time to come home, but he is lost. He's not in touch with his inner guide. He didn't take his inner guide with him, and he doesn't know how to get home. And that's where he starts to use his mind to guide the path home, and that's how he ends up getting even more lost. He has the opportunity to follow Agamemnon, but he decides to go on a different route, and this is a thought. This is going further into the mind. He thinks about the path and takes on a path. And I'll go even one step further and say that his crew are almost a representative of him, or an extension of him, and each member of the crew, represents a thought pattern within him as a wasp. Each member of the crew is an extension of his, an extension of his mind, and represents a thought pattern. And he defers a lot of his decisions to his crew, right? And so by taking the decision to follow the mind, he takes the wrong path, and he gets himself into trouble and turmoil. He meets monsters, he meets witches, he meets obstacles, he goes the wrong way. And the Odyssey of it is gradually, over time, he's got enough awareness about him to realize that he's going the wrong way, and he starts to basically lose crew members. He gains living wisdom from the mistakes he's making, and is able to lose thought patterns that are burdening him, basically, is my interpretation. And there's a scene with the witch where, you know, the true nature of his thoughts are revealed. You know, they're the pigs. They're, you know, greedy, lustful, kind of dirty. That's the representation of the pig. The witch reveals that to him. He starts to understand, you know, the true nature of his mind. So the Odyssey is an internal journey. He's starting to see that. It's an internal journey. But he still wants to get home, right? He still wants to make it back into the heart, make it back into the wholeness, the sanctuary of his home, to meet his inner guide, and to unite with his inner guide. And so he continues his journey, and piece by piece, he starts to take authority of his own decisions and override the decisions of his crew. And the scene where he goes to Hades and he kind of talks to the dead, that represents going to the very, you know, that the Hades is the underworld. It's the depths. It's the dark side. It's the depths of your mind. He has the courage and the ability to kind of get into that really deep part of the mind and listen to what it tells him, and it tells him basically to drop these thoughts that are not, or they're going to fall away. Only you can go home. You cannot go home carrying this crew. And then his whole attitude is different. He's aloof, and he's like, you know, I want to take you with me, but you know, you guys have got a mind of your own, and you're gonna fall off by the wayside on your own accord. And that happens. But then he doesn't immediately get home. He lands on this island for 7 years, and this is really one of the parts of the Odyssey of our own lives where a lot of us dwell. We can kind of get stuck somewhere in a state of amnesia. We completely forget what even home looks like. We get into this state of amnesia, and we're eating on the jouissance, the lotus flower, the sex, drugs and alcohol, the passions of life, the pursuit of like what money gives us. It is personified in this flower. And Circe, she says something along the lines of like, you don't have to eat these, you like them, you choose them. And so it's his choice to continue to indulge rather than go home or even remember his home. And then there comes the point where, and this is the title of this video, where, you know, he finally surrenders and finally lets go. And that's when he is unencumbered. He lays on that raft and he lets the waves basically take him home. And that is that moment where we finally surrender, finally let go, that we can come back in and go meet our family and meet our inner guide. Now, back home, I think this was a pretty cool part of the story. Penelope, where she no longer has her protector. You know, there's an imbalance. The masculine principle is away from her and is not able to protect her and be the guardian to outside influence. the parasites enter the home, and they're waiting and tempting and looking to break Penelope down and get her to submit, and she holds the faith that Odysseus might come back, but she is tempted. She does get tempted, and these parasites do a great job. Just readjust myself. How's that? Just adjustment. I did just come out of the gym. I went for a long run. Okay. So that's basically my interpretation of the story. It doesn't really end there. He comes back. Odysseus comes back and defeats the parasites. He's brought back with him the wisdom of going out into the world and being lost. He's brought that back home and can now be the true protector of his sanctuary that he was meant to be. And the story doesn't end there, because that might suggest that that's the end of the story. We just come back we find our inner guide, and we go off into a cave, and we stay at home, we isolate, stay in a cave, and just dwell in meditation, just dwell in there, and don't live life, and don't go out into the world. But what he does is he goes back out to the world to go honor the dead, but he takes his inner guide with him. So then he's now free, and that's the end of the movie, but now he's free to go and experience the world in wholeness with the inner guide with him. So that was my interpretation. The title of the video is To Surrender to the Odyssey. So we all have our own Odyssey. It's an internal journey going within. And the key is to let the inner guide be the beacon of light. We might have strayed very far away from the inner guide and don't even know how to get home. But the way to get home is to drop the thoughts of the mind, become unencumbered, and surrender, and let the waves carry us home. So a little bit of a different one there. I'll be interested in anyone that comes across this video, your own thoughts, interpretations, rebuttals, expansions, whatever the case may be. Drop a comment, that'll be cool. I'll answer every comment, and with my own interpretation, and there is no right or wrong. This is film, and I would say it's all well and good interpreting and analysing a film and learning lessons from it. The true purpose of a film for me is that enjoyment that it is able to give you and take your vibration up into a state of enjoyment. You go to the movies and you're able to drop the outside world completely. You're not thinking about the outside world. You get absorbed into the story. That's what a good film does. You get absorbed into the story and you're taken on a journey, and your vibration can get raised into enjoyment. So that's the main thing, and Christopher Nolan did a smashing job. I thought it was incredible. So yeah, I look forward to some comments. That'll be cool. Love.